The Agenda, an alternative commentary collective podcast.
We've got about as many members of the Agenda crew here as we had games in the recent ODI series and T20 series against India. So I'm going to have to sort of operate. I can see G-Lane up on the screen there. We've got visuals, so he might be able to signal to me his thoughts on things. This latest Indian tour, was it cursed from the start? G-Lane, he says it was. Yeah, he's got a thumbs down there from G-Lane. Pretty punishing. I found yesterday's game the most punishing in terms of the weather. We were 2 overs away from winning that game. We were about 50 runs ahead in the Duckworth-Lewis-Stern punishing situation. All we need to do is get through 2 more overs. We were looking great. Wackleberry Finn got us 50. We had Devon Three-Way looking great. We'd won that game. In all intents and purposes, we'd won that game. It was just a matter of finishing off, and then that dirty old, horrible old New Zealand spring weather just wet the bed again and stole that victory from us, James McOnie.
I tell you what, I'll tell you what I tweeted last night, and that it's hard to hold some cricket in the cold November rain.
Yeah, and like that's a Northern Hemisphere saying the cold November rain. It's not supposed to be the beautiful blue sky of November.
It's normally perfect because remember when you're younger and you'd always go to exams in November and it was always beautiful outside and you're like, what the hell? Can't concentrate, and you just scrape through and you disappoint your parents. But the thing about it is now watching this series, I think it is cursed.
Yeah.
I think we've been given a big sort of slap on the botty saying, no, you can't be having everything your way. You get the big, like this is the big, we're getting the big dog coming, India, and almost every single game is rain affected, and that sucks.
We still won the series, the ODI series, with that one game we won. So we'll take that. And we were about to smash them in this series. So there's some good stuff. We're still pretty good at the ODIs. We're still okay.
I agree that we're good at the ODIs. I would have loved to have seen a rematch of the World Test final and said, India, if you are going to come over, can we play a little testies? Can we just have one, even a one-off, and just say, look, we'll just call it a rematch. Don't call it a rematch.
They just give us our little crumbs. We'll give you a really short little window that we're willing to come over here. Not everyone's going to turn up, but we'll just come over here for a little wee visit. But you really need to... You can't be having the dessert before dinner, and that's the situation. It's like Brian Tamaki at a buffet in Rotorua. He's going for the ice cream first, and that's what you do when you start with the T20s and then you go into the ODIs. What you need to do is you need to have a 3-test series, then the ODIs, then the T20s, and that should be compulsory in the team. If they're touring New Zealand, they should be here for a month minimum.
Yeah, you're right. That's dessert first, isn't it? It's with the little the hit and giggle, the beautiful, the excitement, the thrills, the sixes. I actually think we are a great ODI side.
Yeah,
and
so do I.
There's a lot of reasons behind it. I think our fielding is elite. I think our bowling is outstanding, and there's depth there. We've said goodbye to lovely Trenty, and still we're restricting teams. But my unsung hero is somebody who I've defended to the hilt at the ACC, and that is the lovely Mr. Darcy.
Yes.
I know. See that once again. I have to.
Well, there was a bit of dirt coming through on Mr. Darcy during the recent commentary because he does seem too good to be true.
Yeah, he seems perfect. What's wrong with him? G-Lane, before you bring you in, apparently there's been some absolute dirt, some mud slung. This is like Pride and Prejudice, basically, and you guys are like Elizabeth Bennet. And I'm kind of like Mr. Darcy's best friend saying, well, please, come now. Come. Remember, he is
I used to ardently love and admire Matt Henry, but then we put that call out on the ACC 3236 for some dirt, and a lot of it came through, didn't it, G-Lane? Look at this here. Wears shorts in the swimming pool, apparently.
Yeah.
Favourite burger is a fillet of fish.
Oh.
Uses the 12-item or less checkout when and goes through with 13. Makes people putt the 1-footers.
Oh,
that's low.
Yeah, that's low.
No, that's not. That's horrible.
This one was low. He claims the 15% discount at Mitre 10 when he finds an item that's more expensive at Bunnings.
No.
Who does that?
Yeah, who does
Does anyone do that?
He puts the milk back in the fridge with 5 mils left in the bottle, so he doesn't have to replace it.
Wow.
Films in portrait mode, answers calls from landline, has live, laugh, love tattooed on his lower back. Ordered $3 of shaved ham from a deli, changed his mind, and then dumped the little bag in the chip section. So there's a bit of stuff coming through against Mr. Darcy. So he's not as clean as you might expect. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he stood down on some of these allegations for the next fixture.
It does sound like that's the case. And G-Lane, I think the fact that you went to the ODI final at Lords, the only reason why you were allowed to go to that ODI final is because of the bowling of Mr. Darcy and the throw of Martin Guptill. So please accept that that is the case, G-Lane.
Wow, look, there's a lot of things I need to accept, and I'm not going to accept that. It's got a lot to accept from that, unpack from that final, and Mr. Darcy and Martin Guptill are not two of them.
Oh, they won the semi, mate. It's the how we got there. It's the man of the match. This is the thing. I feel like with I'm working with goldfish sometimes, but the thing is, like, I just need to put the case for Mr. Darcy, and I've done that anyway. How are you, G-Lane?
I'm good. But hey, listen, we would have played the other semi-final, and it would have been a lot easier if we'd actually won more games with Martin Guptill before the semi-final. So if he'd, you know what I mean?
What are you talking about? I
don't think you can.
I'm talking about Guppy's throw to get MS Dhoni out in the semi-final, and do you know what? Are we talking about the same tournament?
No, yeah. I'm just thinking about. Sure, it was a great throw, got us into the final, but potentially if he'd batted better for the rest of the tournament, we would have qualified higher, had an easier semi-final.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Could have, would have, should have.
Okay,
yeah.
Speaking of tournaments, should we move on to the Football World Cup?
Oh,
how good! How good is this Football World Cup going? The Aussies through to the 16, looking good. The Aussies.
But they're coming up against Argentina. They're coming up against Argentina.
You'd be a brave person that puts the house on Australia against the Argy-Bargies, wouldn't you?
Well, they're so close to each other in the alphabet. There's a huge rivalry there. The one thing is that there have been continental playoffs between Australia and Argentina. So there's history even between these two teams, because Aussie would win the half spot in Oceania back in the day, and then they'd have to go and play Argentina.
Yeah, right.
And so but then this current Argentinian team, just looking at the game this morning, they look like they've hit their straps. They've worked it out. They've got a guy called McAllister in there. I love that, or McAllister. And I love how there's always a mixture between different sort of like European nationalities and races in their team. And then
good-looking people.
Mexico shat the bed, and they'll be disappointed.
Mexico?
They blazed a shot. Well, they like to blaze. They blazed a shot right over the bar, and that guy there is going to be burnt at Cinco de Mayo, or effigies of him. And then... But the one thing with Australia is they're gutsy, but the way Argentina now have sort of worked it out, I feel like they're on a hide into nothing.
As I see my beloved England progress through the tournament, you got to say they really lucked out with the pool they got in. They were so terrible against the United States of America. I got up really early. I went down to a bar, the Morningside, to watch it. There was a bunch of people there. There was some talk about James McOnie, actually, by some kind of Sky exec.
Yes.
He said that James McOnie was there, but it wasn't actually you. It was another guy.
Tim Provise, yes.
Yeah. And so I was watching that, and I was like, I'd invited a friend along who's just a staunch rugby union guy, and he'd been punishing me about how boring football was. And I said, no, the World Cup's the most exciting thing in the world. Come along, watch England versus USA with me. And that was the most boring game of football of all time. I know that England didn't really need to win, but, they got 6 against Iran, and you thought, maybe they're going to have a bit of go forward. Maybe they're going to be a bit of excitement. Maybe they're going to be an excitement machine in this World Cup. And then against the USA, they did absolutely nothing. Nothing happened. It was an exercise in defenders passing it between each other in their own half. And then Wales, there was a bit of excitement. So my beloved England, I'm not sure what to feel. I'm not sure what to feel about them, but I've got to say, when they read that their group they were in, they were like, we're basically through to the 16 without even having to wipe our butts.
Well, and also they've got Senegal next.
Yeah.
So you'd like to think that potentially England are a shoo-in to the quarters, and then England will go crazy. They'll all say it's coming home.
Yeah.
There'll be huge expectations on them. The whole country will be behind them. All the
Fat Les
newspapers
will get
will be saying
knighted.
it's coming home.
Yeah.
Fat Les will get knighted. Everyone's
Let's cue up
go
that
crazy,
song.
and they'll choke them.
Me, mum, and me dad, and me gran were off to Waterloo. Me, and me mum, and me dad, and me gran with a bucket of Vindaloo. Yeah, it's already started.
Ding, 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 ding. Bucket. Hey, I
We'll
just want to
score
explain.
one more goal than you.
I support England as well. It's the only English team I support apart from now the English women's rugby team because they were so cool in that final. But the England football team, I don't know how it happened. I guess when I was young, we watched all the highlights on Sunday from England, out of England. But then, 1986, New Order, World in Motion, John Barnes rapping. It was something like, it touched me deep inside.
We go round the outside. Remember that rap?
You got to hold and give, but do it at the right time. You can be slow or fast, but you must get to the line. They'll always hit you and hurt you. Defend and attack. There's only one way to beat them. Get round the back. So catch me if you can, because I'm an England man. And what you're looking at is the master plan. We ain't no hooligans. This ain't a football song. 3 lions on my chest. You know we can't go wrong.
Wow.
Playing.
You need to get out more.
We're playing for England.
Sorry.
England!
We're playing this song. So that was how I felt like I ended up being an England fan. Then Gaza and the tears of Gaza. And then failing to qualify for the next World Cup. And I was a big Ian right fan. And then it was kind of, I was over in England on my OE for Euro 96. And oh my goodness, Gaza, Shearer, Sheringham, all just going off. And so, I became an England fan. And what the classic thing about supporting England, as you know, Matt Heath, is the selection. You're always saying, why isn't this guy in? What about this guy? What about this guy? And finally, the immaculate old waistcoat, he's not wearing the waistcoat anymore.
Yeah, where's the bloody waistcoat?
I don't know what.
Was that after the European Championship? The waistcoat came off.
Yeah, so anyway, he finally picked a guy called Phil Foden, who is special, and he looks like a total chav, like a boy racer from out west, and he is electric. And now, Matt Heath, they've transformed our team.
Yeah,
He has.
They have, but I'm a little bit worried that Harry Kane is very old and just about a yard too slow to get to the ball.
Well, he's looking like Michael Caine.
He's looking-
and that's the problem.
He's more
Because he
Michael
wants to
Caine
blow the
than
bloody
Harry Kane.
doors off, and he can't do it anymore. He can't do it.
Prediction, G-Lane, who's going to win the World Cup? Is it too early for you to predict? How did France look good to me, even though they lost to their ex-colonial subjugates today?
I think Argentina are looking good.
Yep.
And I think that France are looking good. I think it's going to be either France, Argentina, or Spain. That's my 3.
What about my
Are we
beloved
allowed to pick
Brazil?
3?
What about my beloved Brazil?
I like your
No.
Brazil nut. So what I'm
No.
going for is I think France has got a nice little pathway through. Poland is just a sort of one-man team at the moment, although the goalie's pretty good too. But it's all about big Bobby up the front, Lewandowski. So I feel like France are going to cruise through. Spain were my pick, but then I saw the way they drew with Germany, and they sort of gave up the ball in silly place doing the old tiki-taka, which works beautifully most of the time. And then just maybe a lack of killer instinct down the other end, which has always been an issue, the out-and-out centre forward. So I'm thinking France, and I'm thinking maybe Brazil, and then Spain I still want to get through. So it's out of those 3.
What about the Germans?
The Germans have shut the bed.
They are, at times, they can be exciting and wunderbar, and they make the nipples very stiff in the area, but
You never want to go up against them in a playoff game.
No. Or in a club in Berlin with the glory holes. Like, you can. That's the issue.
If you're naked in a urinal in East Berlin, 2 meters under the ground in an old communist tunnel, you don't want to have a German standing above you because they will urinate all over you.
That's the problem.
Oh, yeah.
That's what they can do in this World Cup. They can urinate all over you because that's what they did in the end of that game. They could have won that game against Spain, and they were pretty much unzipping and about to go, right, if you're going to stand, if you're going to lie there, then I must do this. And then all of a sudden it's... Yeah.
Been watching.
They're pretty happy that there's a bunker as well. They're going, VAR. We love the VAR.
We love the bunker.
The bunker.
We have a lot of success in bunkers.
Or maybe not.
Actually,
What a great sound effect! A great sound effect to play when the ref goes off to the VAR bunker and you hear this. Just 2 shots in the bunker.
And it looks like it's a penalty to Germany. I don't know how this happened. Amazing. And so,
okay, well, I'm calling it England. England.
I didn't even pick England.
Oh, really?
I'm sorry.
I'm picking England.
Yeah,
But you
how's
get
the
confused
Belgium?
because you watch England, these English players that you love, but they're always surrounded by people that Premiership clubs have spent a lot of money to buy to make them look good. Yeah. And then when you just get pure England, there seems to be quite a lot of spark missing.
And they also say stuff like, Eric Dyer, so crucial to this team. It's like, is Eric Dyer crucial to any other team? It's like, I mean, poor old Eric Dyer, he's a good player. But then the thing is, he plays for Spurs, right? So it does make you wonder exactly how, like Matt is saying, how strong are these guys? Are they the real stars, or are they just the what do you call it, the England quota of people? You've got to go down the council estate and get me a real good chav, real fast one. And then here's Phil Foden.
You talk about Belgium and G Lane, and of course there's been so much talk about the Belgium programs to play a special form of soccer, but then they turned up like a big old sweaty old hunk of salty luncheon sausage, didn't they, the Belgians?
I love the fact that whenever a country loses or gets knocked out of the World Cup, they just riot.
Yeah.
That's my highlight. They just absolutely tear the town apart. Like the Belgians lost. Who did they lose to? The Macaroons?
Yeah, but it was the Macaroons that rioted. The Belgian dwelling Macaroon fans just thought, well, let's go loose, and then the Belgian fans turn up, and I don't know what burning cars and flipping cars has got to do with the beautiful game, but they seem to really lean into that part of the sport.
I actually thought that was doctored. That video. It was actually from Castle Street in Dunedin, and they just sort of changed the Otago and Spates flags to Moroccan. You can do amazing things in post there. I don't believe that was Moroccan fans.
I'll try to say it was a Kiwi ref too that lost France that game. That's go Kiwi.
Go Kiwi against Tanzania.
Yeah.
Tunisia. Yeah. So because I watched that goal and went, what a great goal, and then 8 minutes into extra time, France scores. It looked like a fantastic goal. I didn't see why it was turned over. Was it an offside situation? What was it?
I'm not sure, but go Kiwi.
Go Kiwi, yeah.
Go Kiwi, making a mark on the World Cup, on the biggest stage. Can we also say what a shitter?
Revenge.
Qatar, the worst host nation of all time. 3 defeats, 3 losses and stuff. And I'm like, that is
surprise,
but the official terrible first team ever to lose their opening game because they couldn't find a team worse than them to play.
Yeah.
But the attendance has been great. Official numbers have been coming out from the very trustworthy Qatar officials, and everything's sold out. Much bigger turnout than they thought. Fantastic. Hey guys, I've got to go off to take a kid to an orthodontist. So
big kid, little kid,
big kid to the orthodontist. So bless. I'll leave you to it. And
thank you, Matt. Hey, sorry about forcing you into a solo pod, but the thing about it is, really appreciate your work, and I loved your final line in the latest ACC. Is it the scenes or behind the scenes, or what is it called? The
behind the absolute scenes.
Behind the absolute scenes with Net Negative. I really enjoyed that latest. The impact that you have at the ACC has had on cricket. You want to let the historians decide, but at the end of the day, I think it's a net negative. All right. Cheers, Matt.
Cheers. All right then.
An absolute runaway success, that bloody documentary series. G Lane, can you talk us through who commissioned it and who actually shot this thing and edited it?
Well, it was commissioned by myself and Joe Jury. If you haven't seen it, it is a documentation of the first season of the ACC. And to believe that happened in only 6 months, those incidents. It documents the start of the ACC, how the team was formed back in 2015. For 14, and then also documents our first Cricket World Cup, and basically asking everyone their versions of the stories. So it's myself, Matt Heath, Jeremy Wells, Jason Hoyt, and Lee Hart. And I'm just going to, a spoiler alert, Jason Hoyt can't remember anything. So if you watch the behind the absolute scenes, he has to be prompted for every single little thing. He cannot remember anything from any of the games. So we
I
had to
thought it
prompt
was just
him
a
through
joke.
quite a
I thought he was just being humorous.
No, he can't remember anything. So we had you're speaking of goldfish before James McOnie.
Yeah.
He is king of the goldfish. He does a broadcast, and I think I listened to the Between Two Beers podcast with him on it, and he said exactly that. He said he does a job, he remembers the lines, he does a job, and he never ever thinks about it ever again, and walks away. And he's always shocked when people bring up footage of him, in Hercules, or footage of him in Outrageous Fortune, and he's totally surprised by it because he can't remember doing it. And
Wow.
we've found out that's like his commentary. He can hardly remember the Harry Jav moment. He can't remember a helicopter landing in the middle of Westpac Stadium and Brian Waddle going apeshit. He can't hardly remember the details of us getting thrown out of the World Cup when we took the drinks trolley on the field. But it documents all of that. The helicopter incident in Wellington, which we chartered a helicopter to land in the middle of the field to piss off Brian Waddle. And also we hired a barman for the back of the caravan that day. We cover off the first World Cup game where we had Jerry Brownlee go deep into his virginity story, and then Mangina Gate, where we got accused of inciting nudity. And then we finished this first series with the true untold story of the drinks trolley incident when we got accused of stealing a drinks trolley at the World Cup and driving on the field and interviewing players. You get the real story.
Well, it's a cart, isn't it? It's like a golf cart, not a trolley, is it?
No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's not a trolley as such.
I was going, oh shit, what's happened? Have you just taken something from the members' lounge or whatever? And I'm like, oh yeah, the golf cart. Yes, we all remember Lee Hart in the cart. Yeah, Hart in the cart.
Yeah,
That's what should have been the name of it. Damn it.
Heart in the cart. Oh God, we did need that actually. But the thing is, when Lee was in it, and like we mentioned in the Behind the Absolute Scenes, he was the most recognisable person, and he was this big, bald dude in a suit, and he got announced by the ground announcer, and he played the Hamster Man from Amsterdam theme song, and became a bit of a thing that he came on the field and the crowd were clapping. And I think that's when all the other media were like, "What the fuck are these guys doing now?" And was the beginning of the end of our World Cup. Hey, but we made a comeback. We called the World Cup just gone, the T20 World Cup. So we're back. We're back in ICC's good books, i.e. all the people from the ICC who threw us out in 2015 are no longer there. That is the only reason.
Really? Because it's interesting how, I know that Crowd Goes Wild has a really good relationship with World Rugby, and I guess we're not doing stuff like, we're not really imposing ourselves on the actual match day stuff. We're always doing behind the scenes fun stuff. So they love us. But if they knew that certain, like if the ACC commentary, for example, if that ever filtered through to World Rugby, it might raise some eyebrows. You know what I mean? They'll be like, severed piece. Excuse me. Is his name Severed Piece?
What does that mean? Has he got a severed piece, or is he just called Severed Piece?
I don't understand that one, but anyway.
And why is Carl Tuanukuafe called the Womb Broom?
So the Womb Broom. Excuse me, can someone please explain Womb Broom? I'm just going on. It's a website called Urban Dictionary. The Cleveland Steamer. The Cleveland Steamer now. Who is this?
I know what a Cleveland Steamer is. Oh, God.
So we would shock them to the core. So I guess that's the thing. Crowd Goes Wild operates, even though people think, we're out there taking the piss. We operate in the parameters of normal kind of media, and then every now and then pipe up at the end of a press conference and try and get some lulls. But ACC is just goes rogue a lot. Like, that's what I got from the documentaries. But I also believe in the ACC bringing back that audience. I think you mentioned the stats, G-Lane, that you started out on iHeart with 0 and ended up with 15,000, which is pretty bloody good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially there was no marketing either.
Yeah.
This was all word of mouth, social media only. It was good. It was good times. And looking back on that, when we did that series, and JD, who did all the filming and editing for that, he's a good man. He, looking back on that, I was like, fuck, we were assholes. We were such shit stirrers. Anytime anyone told us we couldn't do something, We did exactly the opposite. You guys can't move the caravan there. We'd move it there. It was just, I was like, no wonder they threw us out. They were just looking for an excuse, and that Lee Hard incident was the perfect excuse to throw us out. Yeah. They hadn't been able to catch us with the booze in the caravan because we were hiding that. They hadn't been able to pick us up on anything else. And as soon as I saw that, they jumped on it, but I could see why they did kick us out. It was probably justified.
You do get that situation where it's like, okay, you've got a caravan right down by the boundary where normally that is reserved for all sorts of different sponsors, and you know what I mean. Like, it's pretty hard to get that prime position. And you guys talking about the position of the caravan was sort of like, you should never have probably been where you were in the first place, you know. But having said that, one of the best positions we've probably ever had, best commentary position I've ever commentated in, was at Mount Maunganui at the Mount. We were put pretty much just to the right of the sight screen, and we were looking right down the pitch, and it was perfect. We were up on the hill, right? Yeah. And also, we were sort of near an area with a few boomers and families, and so we didn't have as many people coming up to the caravan and insisting on doing sculls all the time. Did you find that about the... Because you guys were quite often challenged, to buff things all day, right? Yeah.
Well, just pass us beers in the window and go, buff it, and you'd buff it. Mainly Lee, to be honest. I jumped on a couple of grenades for Lee, but it was mainly Lee that went to. Hey, should we move on to the golf? Old Coburger.
Yeah, let's go to.
She's back.
Annalisa Coburger.
Lydia Coburger. She's back.
Oh right, Lydia Co. Yeah, Lids to the Co. Yes, yeah, she is back, and she's world number one, and it's awesome to see. She's also getting married, or she's engaged to the heir to the Hyundai empire. So things are. She's kicking goals and putting birdies or something anyway. And he's an eagle though, isn't he? He's a soaring eagle. So yeah, it's a great year for Lids. I'm very happy for her. I think that she is a total superstar of the sport, but I also feel like, you know, her days of just being considered, you know, Kiwi's favourite. Like she's pretty much going, oh yeah, cheers for the education. I'm out. Yeah.
Boom.
Putt
drop. Boom. Drop.
Putter drop. Where we going? But having said that, I think Lids, if we said to Lids, hey, can you come back and play in the ACC? What's our tournament called?
The ACC Opens.
Yeah, she'd come back. She'd come back to the ACC Opens because she's just one of those. Would. Yeah, she's a good person.
We had, James, the first ACC Opens out at Akarana last Friday. Great afternoon. Break in the weather in Auckland, the only sunshine afternoon in the last month. But what a great afternoon. You know, the guys who run the course were a-holes, but that's all right because the people playing were great. And that's kicked off the series. There's another one next Friday at Pupuki. There's 2 spots remaining in that tournament. And then there's also a few spots available in Christchurch, Dunedin, Tauranga and Wellington. So you got to get in quick. You got to text golf to 3236. It's a great afternoon. 3-ball Ambrose. You get amongst it. There's refreshments on course. There's a drinks trolley going around, prize givings, heaps of stuff to be won. It's a good afternoon of just, and it all goes towards Movember too. So it's a very good cause, and just go out with your mates and have a couple of beers.
Yeah, it is. It's an outstanding day. Matt Heath is, he's the all gear, no idea golfer, isn't he? He looks fantastic. I don't know who kitted him out. Was it Golf Warehouse or someone? I'm probably mentioning the wrong person.
Yeah, he got kitted out.
And it was
looks great.
Yeah, he looks fantastic. Great. And then you watch him hit a ball and you're like, okay, this could be a long day. But
he's getting better. He's getting better. He's got lessons. He'll be out at Pupuki next week.
Oh, so, nice.
Yeah, look out for him out there. Shall we get into the Toppa Plays of the Week?
Toppa Plays of the Week. Brought to you by Leader NZ's Lasagna Toppa.
Now, number 3, James McOnie, is Di Henwood. On Tuesday night, he scored his first 50 in last man stands after, I think it was maybe 11 years of playing last man stands. He scored a 50. It's actually the first 50 he's ever scored in cricket. So in 39 years, He scored his first ever 50, and it was captured on video and spread across social media. It's a beautiful thing. And the most humiliating thing is, as he's leaving, he gets hugged by a teammate who then takes his bat off him and goes out to bat while he has to retire and acknowledge the crowd with no bat.
Hey! Woo-hoo! All right.
Yes. Oh, good.
Hey,
Lid off too.
Clap for mum, boys. Off.
First 50 and last man stand.
11 years it took your power.
Raise the helmet.
Woo!
Good.
Yeah, it's beautiful to see. It's kind of one of those stories where it needs the piano music in the background, or even just Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On. You know, it just needs that sort of bit of flute, and then just that moment where you see him kind of acknowledge his people, which I guess is like another 7 guys or whatever over on the sidelines. Is this at the Domain in Auckland?
I think it looks like it's either Cox's Bay or doesn't look like the Domain. It looks like somewhere else. But
damn it, I thought
great bit of audio of him going when he leaves. The great bit of audio him going, fuck yeah, after 11 fucking years.
Yeah, you need to have that. Every guy has his day, and I think when you look at the passion he has for the game, because that's an awesome thing. I always feel like social sport, never underestimate the importance of antisocial sport half the time. Because it's twofold, and it's staying in touch with your mates, which is what basically everybody's talking about. You know, having your support network, and then it's a physical sort of movement. Use it or lose it, I call it. Like if you decide, I might just take a knee and go and do some other sort of pursuit. It's like, well, just be careful what you wish for, because that sport that you love playing, you may never be able to come back and pick it up again in the same way. So you might as well battle through all the injuries, and when you do get injured, you are out for 4 weeks rather than 1 week or 6 weeks or whatever, but you still come back. You know, it's just a longer time frame, and you come back slower and worse, but you're still playing G-Lane.
Particularly cricket. You cannot take time off cricket and then come back, as I found out in the Dulux Tradies 11. You end up with serious injuries if you don't battle through.
You're a Harry Hardout, G-Lane, as we know in the biz. Someone who turns up and just runs around like a blue-ass fly. I'd love to see you in our touch team. We'd love your energy, but I just don't know how long you'd be able to sustain it for, you know?
Yeah, I've retired from the touch scene. I got humiliated. I've retired. Anyway, Number 2 on the top of plays of the week is the German football team, and a beautiful tribute, actually, to their former butt-crack-smelling coach, Joachim Löw. You recall Joachim Löw famously put his hands down his crotch, played with his balls, and then put them up over his face and gave it a good sniff.
Oh, yeah,
and in tribute to him. Yeah, and in tribute to him, before the game, the pool game, the Germans all lined up and put their hands up to their mouths and sniffed their fingers. I'm not sure if it was a tribute to Joachim Löw, their old coach, or it was something to do with Qatar and the gagging of the media. But I'm going to go with the testicle smelling tribute.
Yeah, I think it's a big part of German sport. German men's sport is the smelling of the testicles and the gooch. You know, depends how deep you want to go. You're saying crack. I mean, if he can, he's almost giving himself a reverse reach around. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yeah, he's gone through the front. He's gone front to back,
underneath,
and then he's come up for the sniff. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
The undercarriage.
And number one on the top of plays of the week, you would have seen this, James McOnie. One of the most epic golf course blow-ups in Australian history. It's one of the greats. It's full of the most foulest language. This old dude.
The boomer losing the plot.
Oh, it's so good.
Does the boomer have a point? This is what I don't understand. Can you explain what happened before he loses the plot?
Okay, he's hit up on a group in front.
Yeah.
And the group in front are walking back down the other course saying, fucking stop hitting on, don't hit up on us, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And then he's coming up, what the fuck you say, cunt? And he goes, mate, just don't hit up on us. And the guy's like, you got something to say, cunt? Yeah. And the other guy goes, what the fuck you say? And he goes, I'll knock you out, cunt. And then it all explodes.
Yeah.
And then And the best bit is you go right to the end. He goes, I'm shaking like a leaf. I'm shaking like a leaf.
I can't
How
hear
am I
the-
supposed to play now? I'm shaking like a leaf.
He's threatening
He
violence
goes to
on me.
take
He's threatening violence on me. I'm shaking like a leaf.
And he goes to take his shot. That's the best bit.
And
You got to watch.
He's
the
like a
full 3
tin man,
minutes.
eh? He's like, you can tell he's
He
not
takes
right.
the shot. And he muffs it. He totally does the shot. And he wraps his club around his bag. We've all been there, but it was one of the great unravelings of an Australian golfer you'll ever see. So check that out.
Golf
It's
etiquette's
wonderful stuff.
That's wrong. I've got to put up with that, do I? Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that, Captain. Control your fucking players. Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck you. Fuck the lot of you. Fucking threaten me? How dare you? How dare you? Fucking ass. Fucking, I'm shaking like a fucking leaf. Fuck that. I can't even see a club now because of you dickhead. Fuck that. I'm putting in official complaint.
Golf etiquette's quite interesting, especially if you play with your mates, and the talking while someone's having playing their shot is quite interesting because it's at the start of the day no one's saying anything, and then by the end of the day everyone's pretty much sledging you as you're approaching the ball, the backswing. Oh, this is going to be shit, like this, and it's like where did the etiquette go? And over 18 holes is too long to keep. For anyone to behave in my group of friends, I think, because everything goes out the window. By the end of it, it's like I mean, I don't think there's anyone kicking a ball into a better position, but I feel like if it was 24 holes, by then people would be just throwing it up onto the green and shit. 18's enough,
especially by the time. By the time you reach the turn at 9, you're about 5 or 6 beers deep. And that's when all etiquette goes out the window. You're right.
Yeah.
People are playing holes completely nude because if you tee off and you don't get past the ladies' tee, the general rule is if you tee off and don't get past the ladies, you have to do the rest of that hole completely nude.
Yeah.
So by the 15th, half the course is nude. You never get to play on that course again.
And you're getting
As
worse
I've
and
said,
worse.
There's so many courses in New Zealand. You can burn through courses and be banned for life and play golf until you're 80 and you'll be fine.
Hey,
So,
I heard the
I think
Akarana weren't as welcoming as you had hoped. Is that right? I saw the note
No.
here. What happened?
No, they were interesting.
Well, someone.
Like,
well, let's not like sully or slander the entire club, but there must have been someone there. There was someone, was there?
Yeah, let's just say they're a little bit greedy. I'll just throw it out there. When you're running a charity event, it's just a little bit of greed comes into play. But that's okay because the people at Pupuki are the complete opposite. They're wonderful New Zealanders, and so are the people at Harewood and Shandon and the Otago Golf Club in Te Puke. So the rest of the tour should be stonking. And we've got one more little bit of admin to go on. If you are keen to go down to the Black Clash on the 20th of January, we've got chance for 2 teams of 4 people to head down to Christchurch, go to the Black Clash, flights, accommodation, everything, and play BYC out the back. You'll get to play a bit of BYC, watch the game, all thanks to Export BYC Championship. All you have to do is just post a picture of your backyard setup, pretty much your BYC pitch, and flick it through to the ACC or tag us in on a photo and you're in the draw. And I think we draw that in a couple of weeks actually.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty sweet prize for you and 3 mates, 2 chances for that. Go down and play in the BYC Champs. Basically, we play out the back of the of Hagley Oval before the game, fully commentated by the ACC, and then you'll get looked after for the rest of the afternoon and evening.
It's lovely, isn't it? What an opportunity. So that's
totally
that's the big Black Clash. When is that? 20th,
it's on the 20th of
Jan. Yeah,
down at Hagley. Yep, that's the one. That's the one. My battery's about to run flat. James.
Okay, my attendance required is football all the time, soccer football this week because I'm in love with the World Cup and I'm happy to watch it. I'm not the 4 o'clock games. I'm not as keen as I thought I was going to be. But tomorrow morning is kind of exciting if you can be bothered watching a bit of Morocco No, that's the 4 o'clocks. Japan versus Spain and Costa Rica v Germany. They're simultaneous at 8 a.m. And then on Saturday, you've got a bit of simultaneous action as well with the Serbia, Switzerland, Cameroon, Brazil. These are the 8 a.m. games. If you're keen for 4 a.m., good luck to you. Get it down. It's all on Sky.
Yep, I'll pass on that as well.
Okay.
But we are covering the final, though. We are covering the final. We're going to watch along 4 a.m. For the final. Thanks to the TAB, they'll be hosting us at Shapiro's for the final at 4 a.m. That's an early start, isn't it? But it's the World Cup. It's the World Cup final. You got to get up and watch it. So
yeah, you got to do it.
We'll be doing a live. We're going to be doing a live watch along for that one. So that's going to be a ripper. All thanks to the our friends at the TAB. That's going to be bloody good, and hopefully England win, and we can just carry on all day and then pass out at about 3 p.m.
Yeah, perfect. What a day. Who's doing the watch along? Is it the Between Two Beers boys?
Yep, they're coming along.
Yeah.
I think I'll make an appearance. Are you keen to come along and have a few eggs Benedict and a lager for breakfast?
Maybe second half appearance. Is that all right, G-Lane, 4 a.m.? Yeah.
Totally.
I'll be there for the penalties. I'll be there for the penalties at the end, you know?
Hey, and if you do want to book a table, just get in touch with the guys at Shapiro's. They're taking bookings now. They've got a license, by the way. So I think there's a little cost you have to pay for a ticket because it's part of the license, unfortunately. But I think it's only $15. And get amongst it. The best sports bar in New Zealand, I reckon. Yeah,
it's bloody good there. All right, G-Lane, all the best with your COVID, mate. It's a shame it's coming.
Thanks,
you
mate.
got round 2, but thank you for turning up and helping with the podcast as always. The big news is that you and I have gotten to bed together for another year, so that's exciting.
Yes, we have. We have. It's exciting stuff, James. It's always good to have you on board.
And I know that
I'll give you a hug if I was there. I'll give you a hug if I was there.
Shit, you'd expect more than that. And the other thing is I'm excited about our Super Rugby, which starts, I think, in late Feb or early March. But anyway, keep an eye out because the ACC is going to go gangbusters in Super Rugby, and it's going to be something that will probably send us to an early grave. And we're but you and I are the Chiefs fans, so I'm thinking we're cherry picking those games because we have to. We're watching them anyway. Yeah,
it might be the death of us, James McOnie, but what a way to go!
Yeah, beautiful. Always wanted to go down commentator.
Okay,
all right.
Okay,
see you, mate.
See you later.
Cheers.
Join us. Bye bye.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda podcast. For more episodes, subscribe on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.